What's up, everybody? Andy, how
What,
are you doing
Shane?
tonight?
I'm coming to you live from the frozen tundra.
Nice. In case anybody didn't, I hope nobody noticed, but tonight I ran the intro. I think it was pretty smooth. I want to say, I'm gonna take credit for that.
I have no idea.
It took like it honestly it took Andy and I we met like a half hour ago going through it. Like, okay, is it loud enough? Can I do it here? Is this the button? How do I do this again? What do I push? Wait for a countdown? What countdown? Because I don't do it.
Right, right.
But it was pretty obvious. The countdown was right in front of my face. It was like, three, two, one, go. Yeah,
That's I'm proud of you.
worked out well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm decided to go camping, and I did not want to cancel the show because we were supposed to have Mr. Brooks, George Brooks, back on, and I even talked to him 2 days ago. Everything was good to go, and said he was really looking forward to it. And well,
I think people have trouble with Central Time or Mountain Time or whatever the hell time you're in.
Central, yeah, it's fucking. I don't know, man. Oop, there goes the FCC fine again.
Ah! We're done. We're done. We're
It's
toast.
it's camping rules, so it's okay. That's what it is,
Yeah.
or
No, I
something.
understand. That's a pretty awesome tent. You can stand up in it, right?
Oh yeah, it's a 13 foot yurt tent from White Duck. Big shout out to White Duck. Um, it's a canvas. You remember the old GP tents?
Yeah.
How they were canvas. It's kind of
Yeah.
like that, but they say you can't smell a picture.
Yeah.
Every time I look at a picture of a GP tent, I smell it
Yeah. Oh yeah,
every
man.
time. But
There's certain
no,
things. Yeah.
but it's great, man. It's got a vent for wood burning stove, which is why I'm out here in the 30-degree weather, uh, and I'm perfectly warm. I mean, shit, I'm just wearing a sweatshirt and a watch cap.
It's funny you talked about like smelling and stuff, and I was just thinking about when I got back from Iraq with my bivy sack,
Uh
and I lived in it for 8 months. Okay, there's no dry cleaning there.
huh.
I get home and I do everything I'm supposed to do, turn all stuff in, whatever, right? Some gear you turn in, some you keep, right? If you're still in the unit, you need it.
Right. Right.
So I didn't turn in my sleeping bag because I need it. Brought it home. Went looking for it for the next field op, which was months later, right? Obviously, you get decompression tunnel stuff or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Months later, we're going to do some stupid field exercise. I don't know. Right? We might have been camping in the baseball field. Who knows, right? The Marines do
Right.
dumb stuff, right? And I'm like, where's my sleeping bag? So, that not cheap sleeping bag, I
Right.
guess, smelled so bad, my wife threw it away after it unsuccessfully,
Oh no.
the smell didn't go away after 2 attempts at dry cleaning out in town, and she said I threw it
Oh,
away. And I said, "That thing's like $1,000, like, it's expensive,
oh,
like, it's, like, layered, it's real Gore-Tex,
yeah.
there's 3" if you know what I'm talking about, I mean, God's honest truth, I was at Camp Fuji, just quick story on that bivy sack, if you put it together correctly, which, by the way, the black layer goes inside the green layer,
That is correct.
okay? Okay, the tag even says it, okay?
Yeah.
So I can't stand when people have the green layer inside the black layer. Well, it's smaller. Yes. Yes, this all has to do with how the filtration system works, turning the rain into mist by the time it gets to your body, which evaporates off you, which is how you stay dry. Downpour in Camp Fuji overnight. Guy gave his 10 away to a junior troop sergeant, right? Like you're supposed to.
Hmm.
Pouring rain. I'm like, man, how'd it go? I asked him. He said, dude, everywhere I was dry. He slept in his bivy sack and zipped the hood and put it together correctly. He said, everywhere I was dry. Everywhere I wasn't was a puddle.
Huh.
He said, so I just had to very carefully get out and he goes, but I was dry. So that thing, that in my mind, you layer that thing correctly, you know,
I may or may not have one or two of those behind me right now.
they're great. They're great.
I got one for me and one for Alma.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have bought one. Talking about cool stuff though, keeping you warm. I was telling you, Andy, before the break, and I don't know if anyone else has ever tried this or heard of these things, but I just recently found out about weighted blankets.
Yes.
Yeah, I bought a 20-pound weighted blanket. It is awesome.
So why did you buy that weighted blanket? Just out of curiosity. Now, I'm not judging or anything, but
Okay, no,
what's
it's
the
good.
benefit?
Great question. So, Andy, you've been to my house many times, right?
Yeah.
Be coming up here again soon. So behind me is the wall, right?
Hmm.
In front of me is a couch, an L-shaped couch that has a pullout. Friday and Saturday nights, my little one and I crash down there, and I let her stay up, till about midnight, whatever,
Got it.
And she has her side, I have my side. So we have blankets, right? She gets 2 blankets on her side. I get 2 on my. We're in Pennsylvania. It's cold, right? So we have 2. So she has her set of blankets. I have my. I mean, I know this is a long man. This is a lot of payout here, right? The story better be good. It's not.
Just wake
Bottom
me up
line
when you're
is
done.
blankets were flying all over the place, and it was time for me to get a new one anyway. So I thought, let me try. I heard from my niece that she has a weighted blanket. She said it feels like I'm being hugged.
Hmm.
And I said, "Oh man, instead of buying like a bunch of blankets, maybe I can just get one good one. Let me try a weighted blanket." So I went to Target and checked it out. I felt the material and I said, geez, I bet this would be a good blanket. I picked it up, and like I said, it's the weight. I think increases the amount of heat it retains too, because I was hot under that thing, man. You don't need multiple blankets with it, but my niece was right, man. I put it on today to take a nap, and it was like, oh man. I was telling Andy, it felt like, it felt like, I was a young kid again, bundled under the covers in a snowstorm, like you feel like this thing is on you, and it's just one blanket, man. It's awesome. It was awesome. It was well worth it. I think I paid $60 for it. I bought a 20-pound one. Um, so the total weight is 20 pounds. It's not like every square inch is 20 pounds. It's like, holy shit,
Sure.
you wouldn't be able to breathe.
Hey, look, is George in the room? Is he wanting in? I can't see.
I don't see.
Hang
No,
on.
no, not over to the side. There's nobody waiting to get in.
Boy. Oh boy. I just got a message from him. It looks like he's trying to get in or something. But well, this is what happens when you go camping and shit.
Is there anything I can do to help get him on?
Um, I just no, not really. I guess because I don't see him. If he's
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
not. He's not in the sidebar waiting to be let in.
I'm not sure. And with
Or
me
or
not
would there
being
be a message?
probably not with
Nope.
me not being at home on my computer, there's not a lot I can really do right now. In
N-
fact, I can't even see if there's any chat going on.
There's no chat.
Okay, so you got that going for you.
You got that right. But anyway, well, back to the blanket. I mean, if we have to reschedule Mr. George, we can reschedule Mr. George.
Yeah, we'll reschedule again. I'm not sure what happened. Life happens. It gets in the way. I get it. No big deal. It's just a silly podcast anyway.
That's right.
No harm, no foul. But
Yeah.
it does beg the question though. What are we gonna talk about tonight?
Well, I mean, I was gonna say let it flow. I'm talking about this weighted blanket. That's pretty freaking amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was my attempt to get us off the subject of the weighted blanket. My
Yeah. Well.
apologies for failing miserably. Just kidding.
Right.
Just kidding.
I love Chinese people too, but come on, Paul.
Right. Well, where'd that come from?
I don't know. I
Anyway,
don't know, but you play it all the time.
I love it.
I'm,
I love it. It's my
what
favorite
is it?
quote from
What is
Vince.
that from?
So back in the pandemic when we were doing face masking,
Uh-huh.
ShamWow came out with the ShamWow face mask that they said was better. And he's doing the commercial for. You got to watch the whole thing.
Oh,
ShamWow face masks.
I'll
He's
look it
doing the
up.
commercial, and he's talking about how they're made in China, and these are made. He's like, "Come on, I love Chinese people too, but come on, like, you gotta put this on your face. You need a real one.
Hey, let me real quick, man. I want to give a shout out to somebody real quick.
By all
So
means."
the other night I was just I was farting around on Kick and I came across this page. So Gator, if you're watching, shout out to Gator. Um, cool place to hang out. I don't know if you know much about Kick. A lot of streamers go there. A lot of video gamers go there and they stream their games and just a bunch of like podcasts like we're doing, but he had this setup, and I know it's not just original to him, but it's AI voices of celebrities, right?
Yeah.
And if you type in, however you're supposed to type it in, say for example, you Trump, and
Yeah,
whatever you say, it doesn't matter. It comes out as Trump's voice.
that's
And
awesome.
bro, it was hilarious. It was so much fun. Then I went back, Thursday night, and then I went back last night or Wednesday night and last night. It was a blast. So we're gonna get this dude on the podcast
Yeah,
at
yeah.
some
Let's
point.
talk to him. And deep fakes are a big thing too. I mean, that's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff is coming. I'm seeing it more on Twitter. There's a lot of pictures coming out, and a lot of fact checkers like down there, like this isn't right because you could see this, that, and the
Did you say a lot of fat chicks?
fact
Oh,
checkers.
my bad. My bad. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, Gator on Gator. I'm brain farting the rest of his
Yeah.
name. But if you type in Gator on Kick, I'm sure you're gonna see him. He'll pop up.
Sure.
But,
Remember last week we talked a little bit about Google's AI. Remember
oh
the
yeah.
the woke AI. So that's starting to come around. The Daily Wire just did an exposure on woke surgical programs.
Really?
Yeah, they had a lady injure a patient and say well, it was okay, he was a Trump supporter anyway. She tweeted she was a surgical resident.
Oh my
And
god.
yeah, this was oh god, I'd have to pull up the story or pull up the Twitter thread. I forget which medical school, but if I said it, you'd know exactly which one I was talking about. But he was saying residency program, and so they hid her because people did ask questions. So they hid her, gave her an award, and graduated her.
Oh Jesus.
So, and what they're saying is, and then her friend said, yeah, it's kind of like karma for the MAGA supporter, right? Getting injured. And they're like, this is what happens when you do DEI and surgery programs. And then they played, Ben Shapiro did a whole thing on it. And then they played the heads of some of these surgical associations and surgical programs saying that diversity is more important than competence. And that,
Dude.
that's just that patients do better. They're saying patients do better when surgeons look like them.
What the fuck? Fudge. Man, I gotta really work on that.
Yeah.
So here's the deal, right? We'll come back to that in a minute. It's probably like freaking UC Berkeley or some bullshit. But anyway, I do a lot of podcasts. There's some podcasts that we don't care what we say in, and then there's other podcasts that we do care what we say. And I'm blowing it royally tonight. But do we have a chat? Is there somebody in the chat? It looks like
Mark.
I can. Oh, hey, what's up, Bear? I can see like we have a chat, but I can't see what it is.
It's nothing important. He hasn't said anything important since Reagan was in office.
Well, this is true. However,
no, I don't think he was alive when Reagan was in office. So Clinton.
Probably not. But Bear's dead to me anyway. He got me all hyped to do this. That hike shit that he does all the time?
Oh, is that the Silky?
Yeah, something like that. Well, anyway, there's one in St. Louis coming up, and he's like, yeah, hey, he sends me a link. Jump on the link and everything, and then he tells me, I'm not going.
I'm chafed from Silkies.
Basically, F you, whatever. Fine, be that way, Bear. But anyway, yeah, as you can see, I'm here in the great outdoors.
Yeah,
enjoying it.
Well, I have good DEI news for you. Princeton. So you remember a lot of these universities. They got rid of SAT testing, right?
Yeah.
Because so I have an inside track at a university, right? I think I may have mentioned it before. I don't want to mention it now. But Andy certainly knows, and if he doesn't, I'll tell him afterwards. But anyway, I do have a pretty high level university inside track, and I was asking about it, and he was like, "Oh, it's a," he looked at me like, two things, right? Like one, like he's disgusted with it, but also like, don't you know the game? Like he was like disgusted with me even asking, but he was like, it's a cheap way to increase your diversity numbers. That's what he said. That's exactly what he said. He said it's a cheap way to do it. And so he said that's why they're doing it. Anyway, many universities are re-implementing the SATs because, as it turns out, they were a great weeder of who can complete the program or not. And so what they found was 70% of the people getting in that normally would not have gotten in are not graduating because
No,
they would not have gotten in. They're not good enough. I'm sorry to say that, but that's the truth. That's why there's a sorting. I was not good enough to go to Harvard. Okay.
I tell my kids all the time. I said, listen, there's stupid people in the world, and of course, I'm pretty sure my daughter's going to end up being a liberal because she's like, well, Daddy, that's not nice. That's mean. I said, it doesn't matter if it's mean or nice or not. It's facts.
Right.
There are people in your class, I guarantee, that are a lot dumber than you are. And she said, well, that's not nice. I said, well, admit it. Are there dumb kids in your class? Are they dumb? Are they? Are they? And she finally admitted it. But it pisses me off only because, I had to work. I'm not smart.
Yeah.
You're smart, Lou. I have to work 3 to 4 times as hard as anybody else. I'm not that smart. But I busted my rear end to take my SAT and ACTs, to get into school. And when they just waive that stuff and make it not requirement, there's so much wrong with it. So
Yeah.
much. But
Yeah.
anyway, I didn't know if you wanted me to go on a long diatribe about that or
Hey, we got 44 minutes of diatribe. No, Vets Helping Vets should take at least 7 off of that. So,
But have you been keeping up with any of this Fannie Willis trial stuff?
I mean, I have. I mean,
I think they had closing arguments today.
they did. He probably passed his sentence down by now. I don't know what it was. I mean, but
Or verdict?
you have to excuse me. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think when you look at the whole Fannie Willis and this guy, they were obviously having an affair. She was obviously paying him. It's obviously grift.
They obviously lied.
I mean,
So
this case is why everyone hates the legal system, right? This is why everyone hates the legal system. I think for 2 reasons, right? One is, it's clear lawfare against Trump. He took a loan out, he paid it back. Nobody was injured. They've never prosecuted a case like this ever before without an injured party, right? There's always been an injured party. So, this is the first time they've done it without an injured party. The bank was even there to say it's not a problem, right? I mean, everybody does this. Then you had Kathy Hochul come out and say, don't worry if you're a business in New York, we're not going to do this to you. Okay, which is clear. I mean, so what's the converse of that? I mean, we only did it to him. I mean, so again,
just makes this case stronger.
Right. You have this clear lawfare, right? You have this clear lawfare. And then you have her, right, lying about an affair. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, it's lawfare against Trump that pisses people off. It's her lying, and she's gonna totally get off, right? Like there's gonna be no penalty for that. Like,
No.
even if they remove her from the prosecutory team, there's gonna be zero penalty to her whatsoever, right? They're already spinning it that it's race based, and that's why they're going after her. 'Cause she's a black DA going after a white, powerful figure. So that machine's already turning, right? So nothing that pisses people off, right? Then you have the left, right, who's sitting here saying, well, just because she lied about this, right, doesn't mean he didn't lie about his assets, right? Because they don't care about the precedent, right? They don't care. They're just, if he lied about the assets, that's a rule break. And right. So I get that. I can appreciate that. Like, I can appreciate, like, hey, wait a minute. 2 things can be true at one time. She can be a freaking scumbag, and everyone else she prosecuted could be guilty. But I'm not saying Trump's guilty. What I'm saying is,
you're right. You're
the way our legal systems work, they'll let murderers out because she lied about an affair.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, and that pisses people off, man.
Because now every case that she has tried or prosecuted is now going to be under question if she is found guilty of perjury.
Could be, yeah, and that pisses people off.
Well, you're right. It could be. It should be. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how our legal system is supposed to work. However, all bets are off nowadays, man. But from what I understand, this guy, and I don't even remember his name, her boyfriend, whatever. Um, this isn't even his area of expertise in law. I forget what he does. It's like not even close. It's probably like personal injury or some shit. I don't know. I'm making that up. I don't remember. But so she brings him in and she's paying him 3 to 4 times more than the other attorney on their team who specializes in this type of crime.
Yeah.
Has written books on this type of crime. You know, he's considered the expert. So I mean, it's Democrats. I guarantee they have to see what's going on, but they don't care, and that's the problem.
Or they want it. Like that's the other
Well, they
thing too.
do
Is like
want it.
they're
They
you
don't
know
care.
there are a lot of people out there on the Democrat Party that think capitalism is horrible
Yeah.
and would be more than happy to watch it fall apart and have a new world order come in. I think I was telling you the one time there was a guy trolling these sites, these progressive sites. You know, what are you going to do in the new world order? And he's 70% of respondents design uniforms. Like, are you didn't I tell you this? The guy was insane,
No.
man. Like design uniform. And when he was talking about it, you know, and you listen to him talk about it, you're like, yeah, like he's like, yeah, you know. And then he goes, and then I would say to them, right, because a majority would say they wanted to design uniforms. I'd be like, well, but it's a uniform, right? So we only need one designer.
Right.
What are the rest of you going to do? Are you going to be in the factory with me? You
Yeah.
know, and he said it just they couldn't compute it. Like he said, like and what he discovered, and it's not a scientific experiment, but I tend to see with my lying eyes what he's talking about. Um, but he contends that these people are just living in this fantasy world that when the new world order comes, they're going to be desirable now, right? Like they're not desire, they don't have traits or they're not desirable now. But when the new world order comes in, they'll be desirable because they'll have the opportunity to flex their art. And what they're not understanding is no. Bill Gates will get to flex his art. You're going to be in the factory with me. We are bitches.
Yeah. comrade.
You and I are bitches. We're in the factory, man. We're on the farm. We are wherever we need to be according to our ability, so that each according to his need.
Don't you understand that? I mean, come on.
Yeah. But he said they don't. They live in this fantasy, like, oh, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna design uniforms. Oh, I would design new EV wing, you know, spoilers for the EV flying machine. No, dude, we don't need any of that. They don't need any of that. They have that already. They have AI to do that. You are a worker.
But you know
You
what,
know?
man? Republicans aren't much better. The
No.
Republicans of old are gone. They're non-existent. Um, so you know, I claim I'm independent because bottom line is if regardless of what party you are, if you have good ideas and I can get behind them, I'm going to get behind them, regardless of whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Green Party, Tea Party, Tea Bag. I don't know,
Mhm.
um, but you know, it's the tribalism mentality that we talked about in the past. That it's party over country with these folks, and you know
Yes.
that's that's wrong. That's wrong.
Well, I think
And
you know they have these wild ideals, man, that they think are going to you know, carry the day, and I don't see it. I don't understand it, but
I don't either.
you know,
It's they're living in their own little bubble, man. You know, it's basically what you said earlier. Of course, they're living in a fantasy. It's a fantasy to think that there's more than two sexes, right? It's a fantasy.
yeah, the
There's
gender
it's
things.
not.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
well, what is it? Two sexes, zero genders, infinite personalities. That's how.
whatever, man. Uh, do you is what I'm saying. I don't care, but don't drag me down your delusional rabbit hole with you. You know what? I if I had a friend, I do have a friend that has a child who is now transgender, and I will call that child by whatever name they want to be called. You know what I mean? I'm not out here to be a mean person, but I don't have to believe your stuff. I don't think it's right, but I'm not going to go out on a soapbox and every time I see these people say this just isn't right, what you're doing is wrong, blah 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 blah. It's your right to bring your child up however you want.
Yeah.
You know, I don't agree with it, and I don't think well, I shouldn't have to agree with it. Is the bottom line. Live your life.
Yeah.
Live your life however you want. I don't care. Just leave me the fuck alone. Oop, damn, I did it again.
Well, the two things about that. That was Jordan Peterson's whole thing that got him in trouble, right? That's where it started, and now
Right.
it's ballooned into what it's ballooned into. But the original, like one of the original interviews that he got in trouble for was when he said, government compelled speech is wrong. The government,
Yeah.
Canada shouldn't pass law demanding I call a man a woman if that's what they like.
Right.
They and I can have a conversation about that. But it's completely wrong for the government to say you will do it under coercion of threat, right? And it ballooned into this huge thing. But
The
yeah,
the the best kind of argument I've ever heard and seen was hilarious. It was who was it? It was one of them knuckleheads that are always going out and fight me, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember. Oh, was it Crowder? Loud? I don't
maybe.
remember. Anyway, bottom line is when the debate came up to or the argument of transgender, and he asked simply, well, what if you feel like you're black? Can you be black? And every single one of them, no, you can't do that. Well, then how can you be a woman if you're a man? If you can't be black just because you feel like you're black, what's the difference? Or the other one, Ben Shapiro, was like, well, what if you identify as 67? Well, you can't change your age. If you can't change your age, how can you change your sex?
Yeah. Well,
They get
yeah.
taught.
Yeah. Well, they don't care, and like you say, they don't care, and I think I think the big lie that they tell the children is that because I don't care what adults do. Like, I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit what adults do. Whatever, you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But the big lie they say is that you can do it and you'll be accepted. That's the lie.
Yeah.
You can do it. No idea whether you're going to be accepted or not. No idea. And I'll tell you what,
the
if you come at me
argument-
like an asshole, I'm purposely
yes,
going to be a pain in your
Yes.
ass.
100%. I'll play your silly game to a point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But damn, I just lost my train of thought. Oh well.
Well, I was just saying,
does
again, back to the point that I was making. If it helps refreshes, that the lie is that society will accept you, and the reason it's a lie, the whole reason it's a lie, is I cannot speak for someone else's behavior, and I also know it's a lie because I know as soon as I see a transgender person, let's say a male who transitioned to a female, if they walk into the room and they're like, my name is Jane, my first thought is that used to be a dude. I don't immediately think, oh my God, that's a woman. How beautiful. Hear her roar.
So brave.
I think that was a dude. And then the second thought I have, and if we're going to be intellectually honest with each other, I think many people fall in the same boat I do, right? We fall in the same boat. Hey, that's a dude. And am I going to entertain this or not? And I'll tell you what, the second question is based a lot off your behavior and how you come through the door. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm more than happy to entertain it. But if you come through the door demanding I entertain it, well, now we got a problem, man. Now we have a problem.
Yeah, take it easy, bro. Have a seat.
Yeah, but if you come in chill and don't be bothering anybody, I mean, you can't walk in with a face tattoo going, why are you looking at my face?
What you said is so spot on. It's a lot of these kids are just looking for acceptance, and the counter argument is always, well, you know what? There's no, you can't tell them that they're not happy or that they won't be happy because there's nobody's complaining about wanting to detransition. Well, that's not exactly true. We're so
There's
new
a ton
into
of
this. There's not
detransitioners.
enough, but there's not enough data. to fully support it yet. But you are right. You are right. But yeah, it's going to take 10, 15 years
They,
for
they just lost
data
Dr.
like that to
Phil.
come out. Right.
Dr. Phil's been on doing the talk show circuit saying this nonsense has to stop.
Oh yeah, he tore them bitches up on The View.
Yeah. Oh, about over pandemic home stuff. But he also came on Joe Rogan was talking about transgender kids. Like, that is nonsense. That is nonsense. And he said, and when they say suicide, he said there is absolutely zero data to support that these kids commit more suicide if not transition. He said that's a lie. That's a fallacy.
Yeah.
You lose Dr.
Man,
Phil, that's big.
I'm having a hard time staying on track with my thoughts, man. Every time I have something, I lose it. But Dr. Phil, he's spot on, man. I look, it's child abuse. You know, these providers out there, these so-called providers, these psychologists, these surgeons that are and these pediatricians that are on board and they're pushing this shit.
Yeah.
They're not providers, man. They're activists, and they should be immediately stripped of their medical license.
So back when I worked for a company, I was talking to a group of people that wanted to rotate through the jail. I had purview over the residency. I said, yeah, we could do that. This would be a great learning experience. Maybe they'll stay on, right?
Right.
So we're debriefing the experience with the 6 nurse practitioner students. And I said to the one, you like it? Yeah, I like it. And I said, would you work there? Nah, I don't like how they do their transgender care. And I was like, huh? and they're like, it's so cruel. You know, those meds should be stored there. They should be on hand. And I was just thinking in the back of my head, holy crap, they're right. You can no longer, you know how you have to write to get into medical school?
Mm-hmm.
They are weeding through, pulling woke students in. You know, it's not just the DEI, but it's also the ideology. You know, they're putting questions on these medical exam
Go back,
tests.
Say that again. It's the what?
Huh?
It's the ideology.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, they're taking them in. Like if you they're only taking woke students for woke medicine so that they're changing the landscape whether you vote for it or not. Doesn't matter whether you vote for it. All the doctors are going to do it. They're just going to do it anyway. I heard Shannon Joy today. She's a host out of New York City. Follow her. It's great. She is all over the parenting stuff, all over, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she was talking today about abortion, and she was saying, look at how this country just sat down for an injection because of a pandemic and said, sure, just shoot me up. And they're still clamoring for more. She said, you're not going to, you know, and she said, if the government's allowed to shut your life down until you inject yourself with their substances, right? You are canceled until you report to the clinic to inject this substance into your body. If that's how they're running the country now, and you can sit here and say, well, it's a pandemic, you have to do things, you have to, okay. We're finding out all kinds of things they didn't tell us were in the shots. We're finding out now that are in the shots, okay? Shannon Joy's point is, you won't need to argue for abortion. Line up. You're getting your injection. We're going to sterilize half the fucking population. And, you know, we won't need abortion. We'll have population control. The climate will be great. And, you know, we didn't tell you about it. Oh, birth rates are down? Huh. Who would have known?
You know, I did not get the vaccine or any of the boosters. And I've been accused of being an anti-vaxxer because of that. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I believe my kids are vaccinated. I've been vaccinated, not for COVID, but it's my right as an American.
Are you
citizen.
really not an anti-vaxxer?
No, I'm not. I mean, what I have a problem with is just that the government mandating something that I have to do to put into my body. Well, guess what? For 32 freaking years, I had to do that.
Yeah.
You know, anthrax, plague, you name it. All the Japanese encephalitis. Oh my God.
Oh, the
Who knows
JV
what they
series.
Yeah. You know, I've had the freaking anthrax series twice. So my point is, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm an anti. You telling me what I have to and what I can't do.
Exactly.
That's what I'm against. So if an anti-vaxxer would say, no one should get that. My point is, it's your choice. It's my choice. If I want to do it, I'll do it. If I don't, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
That's where I stand on it. But we're finding out now that there's all kinds of complications, serious medical
Yeah.
complications.
Oh,
from
that they hid. That not only did they hid, but they had
Yeah.
they had a separate reporting app just for that vaccine, and they hid that data that a judge ordered released. They were reading the first 6 pages, horrific stuff, or
Yeah.
birth defect, miscarriages, all kinds of craziness, heart palpitations, heart attacks, unconsciousness. So all this crazy stuff in the self-reporting.
So the other thing is that, with us being in the medical field as long as we were, I was not comfortable with taking a vaccine that hadn't even been tested. Who knew what they're putting in that? And now we're finding out, and I am 1,000% glad I didn't get it.
Hey,
Now,
I was gonna say, just remember, Trump is out there right now saying he doesn't get enough credit for that.
yeah.
Just
whatever.
remember, just remember.
Again, I am now a Trump supporter because of the legal issues, but you know me, and I've said it many times, I have not always been on board. I don't agree with everything he's done.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
don't-
voting for him. I'm voting against Biden.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But I was going to sit out the election, to be honest.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that.
But I'm not going because I'm not one of these rabble rousers that a Trumper forever or whatever.
Yeah, Cheeto Jesus
that's not me.
faves.
Yeah, but man, there goes that thought again. I don't remember what I was saying. Whatever. The vaccines, an anti-vaxxer would have said no one should get it. I encouraged my mother to get it, and she
Yeah,
got it because she was late 70s at the time. I'd gotten COVID. Connie got it. The kids had it, and I didn't want to be responsible for her getting it and dying.
Did you
You
Did you see somebody pointed out the other day that we all have friends, right, that have caught COVID, 3, 4, 5, 6 times,
Mhm.
right? I think I had it like once, maybe twice. But yeah. My friend who I just went to lunch with last week, told me he had COVID a couple days earlier. And he's had it like 6, 7 times, and he is vaxxed, boosted, and will be boosted again. And he's like, all these people that keep catching COVID 4, 5, 6 times, he said, check their passports, man. They're all boosted. All of them.
I only had COVID once, and it damn near killed me. Literally. But I never got it again. And I've been exposed to people that have had COVID.
So I got called in the office at the jail and dressed down by the deputy warden because I made the comment down in intake, and some fucking, one of those hardcore officers down there reported me. I guess I hurt their feelings. I said they ought to just open the windows, let the virus run through this bitch, and be done with it, right? Because what I said was what we should do is isolate the fat prisoners and the diabetics. I said, then open the windows in the rest of the jail, let this virus run through. We'll be done in a week. We'll be open. They can wreck, and this will all be over. I got called in and dressed down. I mean, dressed down. Right? And I'll tell you right now, man, if I lived closer to the city, I'd be walking in circles around that jail every day, hoping I ran into that person. Hey, how about natural immunity now? How does that sound? Hey,
yeah.
Hey, this box comes with a warning that says masks don't prevent the spread of COVID. Huh.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah,
right?
who would have known? Oh,
Man.
I knew.
Right. Those crazy conspiracy people saying from the beginning it didn't work.
I knew. Do you remember when you told me that I needed to be more serious when I said masks don't stop the spread of the virus? I said when I said condoms don't stop the spread of the HIV virus. And I've had water balloon fights with those. What makes you think this mask is stopping COVID? Anybody want to have a water balloon fight with it? I got told when I pointed that out, I got told, be serious. I was being serious. This mask doesn't hold shit. If
No.
the HIV virus can make it through the pores of a condom, hey, surprise! If you thought condoms prevented HIV, 99.9. Now you know why there's a 0.9 virus.
Well, let me tell you what about HIV. The good thing about HIV is you can only get that shit once.
Yes, and it's not a very sturdy virus. Actually, I think it's single-stranded. It's not double-stranded, so it's not very sturdy. Like it breaks down. That's why, like you're like you hear stories of people with HIV, or people who have had sex with people with HIV and haven't caught it. Look, I'm not telling you go out there and play Russian roulette. That's Russian roulette, man. You don't touch that, man.
Right.
Hey, man. Here's the most bigoted thing you're gonna hear all day. Yeah, we ought to scarlet letter those motherfuckers. I'm down for that.
You know, there's so much science behind it now. We understand it's a manageable disease.
I don't care if it comes down to Book of Eli. I need to make sure I'm not eating one of them. Because I'm eating.
But,
I'm
hey,
not going hungry. I'll take the shakes.
Going back to the transgender thing and the providers, and you're so right. I had to deal with that as an ER nurse, you know, and it's not comfortable because you have to have the conversation. Listen, I don't care, but I need to know for medical purposes, were you born a man or not?
Yeah.
And you still have fucking people that get upset about that.
We had two in Yokosuka. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I knew because of patient admin. And I'll tell you a funny story. We're not using names, right? So it doesn't matter. I'm not revealing anything.
Right.
And thousands of people go, and I've been there like many times. Anyway, long story longer. It was widely believed one spouse was not aware. Widely believed. Widely believed.
Wow.
But you want to talk about some BS? You want to talk about some BS? We were in Japan at the same time, and this is late. I don't give too much detail away. I'm trying to make sure it's all right. Anyway, bottom line is, this was kind of relatively new, but not, but the craze with children, right? But we have seen people with sex changes our whole lives, right?
Yeah.
But it was really starting to kick. This was when it was starting to kick in, right? People were starting to do it more. We were starting to see it more.
Well, not only that, but this is important because prior to that, they would never screen to go overseas.
Yeah. Well, yes. Specifically for overseas, but in the country, this had started to take hold. Right, is the big thing, right? It started to be in the news. People started to talk about it. People started noticing it, right? And the military started talking about it, right? So it says Andy pointed out before they wouldn't screen. So I work in patient admin, and I would help people like this that have unique situations. And I don't care. I was never judged being a time of good shit. People know me now. I don't care what an adult does. I don't give a shit, and I don't judge. And I don't, Lord knows. But for the grace of God, there go I. You know what I mean? I've made so many mistakes and poor decisions in my life. Who knows what? So I very rarely judge, right?
Same here.
Yeah. I might talk shit, but at the end of the day, I'll give you the shirt off my back, right? But to these people. So anyway, the person calls and they're like, "Yeah, I need to make an appointment with a doctor." I'm like, "Okay." And I'm in my head like, why do I have this? Like, why was I called by the clerk to this is overkill? Why am I talking to this person? And they're like, yeah, I'm transgender. I had the surgery, bottom surgery done, everything replaced, right? It was never really explained to me. I don't know what they did, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. We're like, wait a minute. In my head, I'm like, wait a minute. You had a major freaking surgery and they never explained it? And you don't know what you're supposed to be doing?
Are you surprised?
Yes, I was, because that's a major surgery in all the consent forms. So I'm
not surprised.
I was just like, well, now I'm not, right? Now that we know how much of a scam it is. But in the beginning, I was blown away. I was like, I can't believe this person had this. So that was like really my first exposure. I could not believe this person had this major surgery and had no clue. no clue what to do. And they're like, I need an appointment. And it caused such a problem in the hospital because no freaking doctor in the hospital knew either. And all the surgeons were like, we don't do this. like we don't book the OR for this in Balboa. He's like, I didn't train on this at Portsmouth.
Not yet.
Right, not yet, right? Couldn't find an appointment. Had to set up a remote call for the States, right? But I don't know how it went. Don't even care how it went because if you're dumb enough to go under the knife, not knowing what the hell, and then you walked out, you like signed yourself out, like, yeah, I'm good, all right. I got, and then here we are. I don't know how long before I didn't get into it, right?
So let me ask you a question. If something is that important to you, wouldn't you have done your own freaking research?
So then they come out and they say, hey, we're going to start doing this. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah. I said, so what's that going to do to our computer records? Like with CHCS, like right now, it automated gives me a list of who needs a prostate exam.
Yeah, right.
And they were like, oh, I am dead serious. In the command meeting we were in, I pointed out that we have automated, options.
Yeah,
and
your
if you
robocall.
go, this was why, because they wanted to go, they were going to go into Alta and edit people's sex. And I said, if you go into Alta and you edit their sex, you're going to take them off all their screening exams. Yep. I said, so even if this person identifies as a man, if they have woman parts, we need them on the annual pap smear list.
Yeah.
I don't care whether they, like same thing with the prostate. I said the prostate exam, because I just had a guy come in. That's why it was fresh on my mind. That's why I was able to spit it out so fast. I was like, what the hell? How are we going to, if you change that girl to a boy, it's going to tell us he needs a prostate and we're never going to check her vagina. And if you switch, it's going to tell us every year this person needs a freaking pap smear. We're going to waste time because we're not going to remember. Right? In a world of time and money, we're going to waste time and money trying to figure out why the fuck this person doesn't come in or call.
Right? And man hours.
I said, and it's going to happen every year. I said, and we're never going to check their prostate. Never. It's never going to trigger for us to check their prostate. And they're like, oh, well, yeah. Oh, you know what? Let's hold off on. And then someone else chimed in, right? See, this is why I hate the military. Okay. And then now I'm going to get, this is an entirely different rabbit hole. All right. The game of self-importance through information withholding. There was someone in the meeting who did know about this. There was someone in the meeting that had information. And as soon as shit started going south for them, that's when they started chiming, well, there's stuff coming from BuMed. And where was that? Where was that at the beginning? But he was holding on to that until I pulled it out, saying, this is ridiculous. You can't do any of this crap.
By any chance, director for administration?
No, this happened before that change. This was when McMahon was there. Oh. I forget who. I forget who had. It was some. Oh God.
It's not important.
It was the financial. It was the financial girl, the really cool one, the prior enlisted. She usually didn't play that game. Now that I think about it, was it her?
I don't remember.
Yeah, she usually didn't play that game. Anyway, but bottom line is, someone had information and was holding on to it, not sharing until, I was shitting all over their dreams. And they were like, well, wait a minute, let me throw a lifeline. Like, hold on, dude. Anyway, I don't know what they ended up doing. I don't even care what they ended up doing.
Let me ask you, the one that people were pretty sure that the spouse didn't know.
Yes.
What ethnicity were they?
I don't want to say that, but here's what I will say. They were O, not E.
Oh, okay, never mind. Not who I'm thinking of then.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so long story longer though. What a mess! What a freaking mess! And for absolutely no reason, it does. And I don't care what they say. It doesn't increase lethality. It doesn't. It doesn't increase lethality. Okay. First of all, it makes no sense to me why a DEI-focused military, who knows the white man's the greatest killer to ever walk the earth, would want to minimize how many were in the military. Wouldn't you want to increase the white population if they're devils killing?
No, because bottom line is that the military is just a social experiment for the politicians. That's all it is.
I'm just saying though, if lethality were the concern, you'd want more white people because reliable sources on the View tell me white men are the devil and can't do anything but kill shit. So I mean, wouldn't you want a platoon of that? Wouldn't you want battalions of that? Like
Right.
unleash those white men. Their capitalism will drive them into the dirt.
No, evil white man, bad.
They'll never find Baghdad. They don't ask for directions. These white men will never go anywhere.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, right.
Hey, we got about 10 minutes left in the
It's
show.
about
What's
that
up
time,
next?
my friend. Let me hey, so you see, just a little inside baseball for the listeners. So Andy's out camping, having a good time. I'm at home, doing my thing. I forgot that. Oh, so he sends me all the audio files. He's like, let's get this shit together. So I'm like, all right, I figured it out. I put it in my board, but I put it in my board backwards. So it's and I don't and I was like, I should correct this. And I was like, I'll remember it's backwards. No. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna hit the vets helping vets. Now, Andy, I'm ready if you're not, but if you have something,
I don't have anything.
then you're lucky I got Old Faithful queued up.
I would have pulled something out of my rear end. That time, that's right. It's your Veterans Helping Veterans segment. And today I've got absolutely nothing, so I'm turning it over to Lou.
Hey, everybody, again, this is one of the things we like to do on the show for two reasons, right? One is we like to promote, the organizations that help veterans. A lot of times they don't get shout outs, and there's some smaller, unheard of ones. I mean, we're going to hit a big one today that I'm sure everybody's heard of, but can always use mentions. But also to give you a reason to go listen to past shows, go find out go find out some other organizations we've highlighted. See if you're aware of them. See if you've ever heard of them. Or
that's important to note because since we brought back Nothing's Off the Table, we have not missed a Veterans Helping Veterans segment.
Yeah. So head back and check it out, and you can hear some of the other ones. So what am I going to highlight today? The USO. Why not? 2 weeks ago, I did pinups for vets, which is, I think I got the deck of cards from the USO. They're responsible for killing a lot of sock babies there. You know what I love about? I'll tell you where DEI doesn't disappoint. On that deck of pinups for vets, boy. That's right. Women of the world. That's right. Anyway, USO. So yeah, it's USO.org. Check it out. They're in the airports. They're also overseas. They're everywhere, places you wouldn't even think of. But the USO has been doing great things. I mean, you can even go back on YouTube and watch some of the USO like Bob Hope stuff. And I'll throw this out to you, Andy, real quick. I'll tell a story real quick, but I want to give you a chance to say something if you have something to say. I met somebody that was on the carrier during the USO tour. That was on the carrier, on the Reagan, I think, or whatever. I don't remember the name of the carrier. But it was in the 80s when Bob Hope did a special on the carrier.
Oh, got it.
Okay, so he was on it.
Probably Enterprise. I would have.
Might have been. It was
names.
So
interesting.
Yeah. So he tells me how this goes down, right? And I'm just gonna give you because these are my favorite stories. Are when you find out how the sausage is made, right? So he says. It's Don Johnson, Liza Minnelli, Bob Hope, Sammy Davis Jr., right? Liza Minnelli, total see you next Tuesday. Comes on the ship, goes straight to the captain's quarters, does not come out. Just slips notes for you to bring stuff.
Oh,
she's assigned 2 sailors. They're all on the carrier, right? On the I don't know what the hell you call it, the deck, watching the
flight deck.
No clue about Navy terminology.
What kind of sailor?
They're on the deck and the ramp. They go on to walk up.
Oh, the elevator.
No, not the elevator. When you walk up, when you go to walk onto the ship, the ramp, whatever that is.
The brow.
Okay, the brow. The brow. So he says Don Johnson gets to the brow, tells everyone. I did not know that, Mark. Thank you. I'll interrupt this story for that. Skinwalker Ranch season 4 hit. All right. Anyway,
Oh shit.
well, he said Don Johnson gets to the brow, says everybody get off the brow, and he tells the MA or whoever's down there if they want to see me, they pay to see me. He tells me that's the quote. If they want to see me, you pay to see me. So they clear the brow and let Don Johnson go up. So from Miami Vice. So anyway, so he says they get into the hangar. He said, and they are there for about 6 hours, just clapping. That's it. He said all that clapping, that's all footage from before. He said, so they'd be like, okay, louder. Okay. He said, they were like people all, he said, you don't see them. There's people all in front of us. Like, okay. He's like, okay, sit down. Okay. like, and then they would come over like, okay, we're going to need it louder over in the left side. Like, it takes 6 hours of that. He said, and then they would bring them out for the show in between, right, to do the show. He said it was the weirdest freaking thing seeing Sammy Davis Jr. He said, you don't see it. He said, but you will never, he said, watch that special, the Carrier special. He said, you will not see Sammy Davis Jr. walk from the side to the bench. He said, even at that point, he couldn't.
Oh,
he had a weight belt where people were holding him up below the camera on the stool.
That's horrible.
He said, but it was the weirdest thing. He said he looked so, I'll try to imitate how he showed me. He said he was like,
oh man.
He said, but as soon as the camera hit him, boom.
Huh.
He said, as soon as the camera went off, he said it was like he collapsed, like they had to like grab him. He said, then the camera would hit him, boom. He said it was the weirdest thing. He said the camera would hit him and he came to life.
Like flipping a switch.
Weirdest thing. He said, weirdest fucking thing. But he said it was cool. He said it's still cool to be a part. He said, I don't know where I am in there. He goes, I used to know where I was. He's like, I'm sure if I, watch it 1,000 times, I'll remember where I'm at and show you right where I'm at. But it was a guy by the name of Kobuck Bailey was on that ship. If anybody wants to check the manifest or something, but
hey, I know we don't have enough time tonight. Write this down on a piece of paper because I don't have anything to write with. But remind me to tell you the story next week on my trip to New York during Fleet Week 2008 and my run-in with Usher.
For sure. All right, guys, that's all we have for tonight. Remember, if you like the show, just I always thought it was funny, right? But I guess you got to do it. You got to comment, click like, hit it down. The more likes we get, the more we get out there. The more stars we get, the more we get out there. Other shows will tell you not to lie. No, absolutely, put 5 stars. Say we're the greatest. Lie through your teeth. That's right. It's a cold game. And I'm trying to win.
It's hot out there.
But thanks again. Thanks everybody for coming by, and thanks to our regular listeners. Andy, anything you want to say before we?
See y'all next week. Bye-bye.
It should play.
You're like super echoey now.
I was.
There we go. See y'all next week. Peace. Don't forget to hit end stream.